So it all boils down to this, folks. One game to rule it all. It's the FIFA Club World Cup final, and I got a prediction coming at you next. That's right, folks, but once again with another video. Today we take a look at the Club World Cup final. It is Chelsea, it's PSG. One game to rule it all. Who will come out on top? Well, we'll get into it in a second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe. You want some show for Blackburn Rovers, Club World Cup, whoa, football, we're going to all here under one Rooski. Will Chelsea upset the apple cart and come on with the title, or will PSG add the Club World Cup to their already Champions League success? We'll take a look at all of it in a second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are, but let's get into it. Of course, we're going to preview the old business right here, right now, starting with a recap of how we got to this stage. That's right. So sit tight, hold on, and away we go. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take a little look then at, of course, the old groups, remind ourselves of the groups, and this is what it looked like way back when. Where am I? There we are. Of course, on the screen should be the groups there. Palmeiras kicking it all off with a top of the pops there. Success into Miami, then second place. They, of course, went through to the knockouts, and we said goodbye to Porto and Al Ahly. Meanwhile, PSG did top the group in Group B, and they're joined by Brazilian outfit Botafogo. But then we also said goodbye to Atletico Madrid and the Sounders. Into Group C, we saw Benfica top the charts over Bayern with a 1 point difference to send Boca Juniors and Oakland City packing. In Group D, Flamengo ousted finalist Chelsea with that 1 point, with sending ES Tunis and LAFC gone. Meanwhile, in Group C, Internazionale top the charts there with, of course, new coach Monterrey with a surprise outfit going through to the knockout stages over the likes of River Plate and Ura Reds. Into Group F, Dortmund were there. Fluminense, of course, had a nice extended run into the latter stages. Over in Group G, we saw Man City, Juventus dominate that one as expected. Real Madrid and Al Hilal going close as well. So those were the group stages, but then, of course, we moved into the knockout stages. What do I mean by that? I mean this, guys. These were the knockout stages. They had 16 clubs going through, 8 cracking matches to see who would go through to the quarterfinals. And these were the results. That's right. We saw Palmeiras upset Botafogo 1-0 in the old Brazilian affair. Chelsea needed extra time, and they took care of business against Benfica. We had Internazionale coming out on top with, well, actually, we had Internazionale losing to Fluminense. 2-0 winners for them, the Brazilian outfit going through. And Al Hilal upset the apple cart, knocking out Man City 4-3, 7-goal thriller. Over on the other side, PSG continued their dominance with a 4-0 win over Messi's Miami. Bayern did have an interesting game against Flamengo in the game of the round, 4-2 winners there. Real Madrid just needed the 1 goal over Juventus, and Dortmund took care of business against Monterrey. Into the quarterfinals we went, and it's Palmeiras against Chelsea. And they came out on top once again, Chelsea, with a 2-1 win over the Brazilian outfit. Meanwhile, Fluminense did oust Al Hilal to have at least one Brazilian team in the semi-finals. However, it was all European affair on the other side. PSG taking out Bayern in the end 2-0. And, of course, Real Madrid knocking out Dortmund in a bit of a thriller, 3-2 in the end. Remind us of our Club World Cup Prediction League. It's still ongoing. Unfortunately, I completely lost the plot on this one, guys. We'll be back with some more prediction leagues in other leagues up and down the divisions in the domestic season. Into the semi-finals we went, and we had these matches, and in the white are my predictions. Fluminense against Chelsea. I went with a 1-1 scoreline, seeing Fluminense going through on penalties, and I had PSG with a 3-2 win over Real Madrid. Of course, I got one of them wrong, and that was, of course, Chelsea's victorious display, 2-0 winners over Fluminense. And PSG did oust Real Madrid, but much convincingly, 4-0 in the end. So we've set ourselves up for this absolute final, that's right. But before we get into it, Chelsea against PSG, I'll showcase you what the fans think about it right now. I did got a vote out there, just shy of 1,000 people voted. PSG with 70% of the vote, Chelsea have 30%. But let's take a look at the match itself, taking place on this coming Sunday, the 30th of July at the MetLife Stadium. Chelsea under Enzo Marquesca, 83% form for them right now, 4 wins on the spin, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against PSG under Luis Enrique, also on 83% form for them right now, just 1 defeat in the last 6, winning 4 on the bounce. In fact, both sides have only lost once in the last 6, and that defeat was in this competition. Now, they have played 10 times since 2004, 3 wins apiece and 4 draws. Chelsea have a 3-0 win on their record. They've scored 19 goals against PSG, picking up a 1.90 goals a game ratio. As for PSG, they have a 3-1 win on their record. They got 17 goals scored in those 10 matches, 1.7 goals a game ratio. Now, the last 2, or of the last 6 matches, should we say, there's been 2 wins for PSG, there's been 2 wins for Chelsea, and there's been 2 draws. It couldn't be tighter between these two sides, but the last 2 have been back-to-back wins for PSG. They were back in the Champions League round of 16 in 2016, with PSG winning both the home and the away leg 2-1 to go through on aggregate 4-2. Chelsea's last victory was in a Mickey Mouse Cup and an International Cup. It was a penalty shootout, but their last important victory against PSG was a 2-0 win way back in April 2014 in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Coming into this, we've already talked about it already, but let's recap. Chelsea picking up wins against LAFC 2-0 when they did lose to Flamengo 3-1, but bounce back ability. 3-0 win over ES Tunis, 4-1 win, extra time win against Benfica, and a 2-1 win over Palmeiras, followed that up with another win over Brazilian outfit Fluminense. As for PSG, a statement win against Atletico Madrid, 4-0 win. They lost to Botafogo, but bounced back, and they bounced back in convincing style, only conceding 1 goal throughout the tournament in that 1-0 loss. They picked up a 2-0 win over the Sounders, a 4-0 win over Miami in the knockouts, then big wins over European outfits Bayern, 2-0 winners, and a 4-0 win over Real Madrid. So we're left with this one. A quick look at the bookies odds. 17-4 is your Chelsea, 5-3 on it is your PSG, 16-5 is the draw on this. So we've seen the public vote, we've got the bookies vote, we've seen the form books, but what about me? Realistically, PSG have just been absolutely phenomenal. They've not only played amazing football in the knockouts, they have of course had their statement defeat, but when they've been up against the big boys, the Bayerns, the Real Madrids, they really stepped it up and they put on breathtaking performances. I cannot see a team stopping these guys at the moment. They are the best football team on the planet, and I'm going to go 3-1 win here for PSG. Upset the apple cart, not really upset, it's an absolute cakewalk. It could even be 5-0, but I've given Chelsea a little bit of a chance with a goal and maybe a little bit of entertainment. But that, my friends, will see PSG, current Champions League winners, become Club World Cup winners for their first time in the tournament, and will be back again in 2029 as holders of this competition. Let me know your thoughts and opinions as we look forward to that and much more on the channel. With lots, we are already into the old Champions League qualifiers, so be sure to stick around for that. But until then, I'll see you soon. When we return, we're done.